It is the biggest win in franchise history to this point. The Raptors own a 3-2 advantage over the top seed in the entire NBA. Kawhi had 35 points, 15 of them coming in a massive fourth quarter. The Bucks have dropped 3 in a row for the first time all year, and Milwaukee is facing elimination for the first time this postseason. One win the Raptors are from their first ever trip to the NBA Finals. And we've got your exclusive post-game coverage right here live on NBA TV with a pair of Hall of Famers, Grant Hill, Ishiah Thomas. I'm Jared Greenberg. Back out to Fiserv Forum in a couple of moments for post-game podium reaction. We'll take you inside the locker room as well. 105-99. The Raptors were down 18-4 early. Ishiah, they took that first punch and continued to battle back.
Yeah, when you're on the road, you always have to weather the home team's emotion. They're going to come out with a hard push the first 5 minutes of the game. I thought Toronto absorbed the blow, settled themselves down, and got back into their game. And not only got back into their game, but reestablished their game plan, not only on the offensive end, but particularly, Grant, on the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah, no, it took a lot of mental toughness there. And you knew, you expected that Milwaukee would come out, especially after the last prior two games, and have a reaction and feed off the energy and the emotion of that crowd. But they did. You said it best. They absorbed that. They weathered it and got to a point where they calmed themselves down. They took the crowd out of the game. They got stops on the defensive end. And Milwaukee, after their first 4, 5, 6 minutes, they couldn't score.
No.
And give credit, obviously, to Toronto and their swarming defense on Giannis in the paint and their ability to get out and contest open shooters out on the perimeter.
There are so many different players to talk about here. We look now at the defense first for the Raptors.
We talked about at the start of the show how, you know, Toronto is basically playing a 1-2-2 zone or a 3-2 zone. And consequently, Giannis has a very difficult time getting down the middle. And once he gets down the middle, whenever you're facing the zone, there's so much congestion in the middle of the zone. And he wasn't good enough to kick out, and Toronto's defense was good enough to help and recover out to those shooters. And it was very difficult for them to penetrate that zone or that wall the whole night. And Toronto was masterful at it tonight.
So much about the defense. We'll continue talking about it again. If you're just joining us, Raptors will win away from the NBA Finals. We'll go to the podium here from both coaches and players in a moment. But we got to talk about Kawhi. We talked so much the last couple of games about this mysterious injury that the Raptors wouldn't put on the injury report. He looked hobbled in the last couple of games. We saw a couple of times tonight where he was grimacing, but 35 points, 7 rebounds, 9 assists. He was tremendous, Grant.
Yeah, I mean, tremendous is an understatement.
Can we be hurt like that?
I mean, I'm telling you, I mean, that you know, he's had some fantastic performances throughout these playoffs, but this might be one of his best. Just efficient, did everything, made plays, always under control, took what the defense gave him, hit big shots, defensively taking on the challenge of guarding Giannis Antetokounmpo. I mean, your stars on the road have to play big in the postseason, in the playoffs, in an Eastern Conference final game. And he did that, stepped up big time. Really not even stepped up, just continued his stellar play and didn't look to be bothered at all. I didn't see, I mean, maybe once or twice, but he looked fine out there. He certainly backed it up with his performance.
And Grant, I thought he was equally smart on the offensive side of the ball, because every time he needed Lopez to guard him, he would get a switch, and Milwaukee kept switching Lopez on him, and I thought that got him in a rhythm, got him in a safe spot, got him in a sweet spot. He knocked down a couple of threes, and every time he needed a basket, he hunted down that switch, and Milwaukee never adjusted. Never did they keep Middleton on him, nor did they keep Giannis on him. And, you know, I was confused the whole night by watching it, by saying, why wouldn't you keep your 2 best defenders on Kawhi as opposed to leaving Lopez out there on him?
All right, more on Kawhi, and again, we'll head to the podium here in a moment, but we got to ask you about this play of Fred VanVleet, who some were calling for just a couple of days ago for him to be removed from the rotation. He had been that bad this postseason, shooting about 29% from the field, 25% from three-point territory. Ishiah, tonight, he comes through and hits 6 threes in this win for the Raptors. Pardon me, 7 threes on 21 points.
Well, this is what you know about VanVleet. You know, he's a gamer, and he's not going to continue to shoot the ball as poorly as he was shooting it. Just as Danny Green. I don't think Danny Green is going to continue to shoot it as poorly as he's been shooting it. So these two guys are gamers. They're competitors. They always show up. Now, they may not play well, but they're dependable players that you can always count on for effort, energy, and them playing the right way.
He scored 21 of the Raptors' 35 bench points.
Yeah, you know, I mean, he was out for a period of time. He was injured, came back towards the end of the season. But Isaiah, you're so correct in that the law of percentages, it ends up balancing out. And a player like him, a player who's played well on the big stage, had good postseason games in years past, a capable shooter, he's getting good looks. These are open looks. He's not asked to make plays or create shots maybe like Kawhi. That's a different degree of difficulty in terms of some of those three-point shots. He's getting open looks, and you know what? He's gained his confidence from Game 4, and it carried over here tonight in Game 5.
Incredible. 10 total points Van Vliet scored over the first 3 games combined of this series. He scored 34 over the last 2 games. Isaiah, you were there for the very beginning of Toronto Raptor basketball. You know what type of passion these fans north of the border have. What does this mean right now? What does this mean that the Raptors are 1 win away from their first ever trip to the NBA Finals?
You know, as a founder of the franchise, as a founder of the Raptors franchise, I can tell you that the people in Canada, not just Toronto, but all of Canada, who always was looked at as, you know, second class in terms of basketball in the NBA, even though basketball was invented by Naismith, a Canadian.
And the first game was played in Toronto.
And the first game was played in Toronto. Right. Toronto and Canada has always taken a back seat to the U.S. Now, 1 game away from the finals. And if Toronto gets to the finals, I mean, that just wipes away everything. It would be the equivalent to when the Blue Jays won the World Series. This would be just as big in Canada if Toronto gets to the finals. They won't have to win the NBA Finals. Just getting there, right, they would match what the Blue Jays did in the World Series in terms of Canada.
You know, Jared, this past February, Isaiah and I were up in Toronto twice for games, and we had a chance to go to a dinner and with some of the original staff. And to hear those stories of where they were and where Toronto basketball is now, and to think they might get to the finals is really remarkable. Yeah. Truly remarkable.
First-year head coach is Nick Nurse. He's at the podium. Doug Smith of the Toronto Star is asking a question.
See that come to the fore tonight with the way you handled the start and all of their runs?
Yeah, I mean, that was a test on the road, Doug, right? Especially, you know, you're as much as you want to try to prepare them for the speed of the game at the start. Much energy in the building that you know you're going to have to withstand some of that sometimes, and I thought we did a really good job of climbing back into that, and then we got our feet under us a little bit, you know, and I think from the second quarter on, I don't know the numbers, but our defense felt a heck of a lot better. Let me look here real quick. Yeah, I mean a little bit better. 32 in the first and 17 in the second. It's pretty good improvement, right? So, yeah, and again, it's searching for the right guys and the matchups and some of the actions that were giving us problems, searching for some different coverages and things. And I don't know, I thought our guys hung in there and took a lot of punches tonight and just stayed on their feet and kept on playing.
Eric Corrine, The Athletic. They're obviously didn't start shooting the ball the way you wanted, and there was a stretch there in the second quarter where that continued, but you guys seemed to grind out stop after stop after stop. What does that say about sort of your team's focus and composure?
Yeah, I mean, again, for the most part, you know, one of the themes at halftime was we're really creating great shots, right? For the most part, you know, but we had to eliminate any possessions where they weren't great because we had the ability to create such good ones. There was no sense in going down and having empty possessions because, again, I mean, you come down and take a quick one covered, they're off to the races, and you're flying, pedaling back, trying to stop them in transition. So I thought we did a good job of creating shots, and I thought the guys stayed positive, even though with the cold shooting. You know, a lot of talk on the bench during the timeouts of, you know, keep shooting, we're open, keep passing, keep kicking, you know, and they were positive even though they weren't making them, and then obviously we made a bunch of big ones.
Coach, John Schumann, NBA.com. Kawhi's 9 assists were a career high. I think that speaks to what he was doing tonight, but also maybe his career as a playmaker and sort of, his development as a playmaker. What did you see tonight, and just sort of his development as a playmaker over the course of the season, and how that has come about?
Well, I mean, first of all, again, almost. Most of the time he makes the decision when he's got multiple guys on him. He makes the right decision. It's hit the open man, right? And that's, we keep stressing that in this series and in the last series too. When you've drawn two, you've done your job. You got to find the guy who's open. Our spacing and relocation and cutting have to be good when there's two on the ball. But we finally made some for him tonight. Right, he's kicking them out to guys that were making some in the second half. So, the other night I couldn't believe he only had 1 assist because it seemed like he was passing the whole game. All right, so we stepped in and made some for him tonight. And when you make them, they usually, that helps your assist numbers.
Nick, Scott Stinson, National Post. Fred was 7 for 9 from 3 and a plus 28. Did you What have you said to him over the stretch in the playoffs when he hasn't been shooting as well? And did you just, feel like this was always a possibility that this could happen?
I mean, it's you and I have talked a lot about. Hopefully, we regress to the mean a little bit, right? He was kind of due for one of these nights because we know he's a good shooter. I haven't said much to him, Scott. I think again, he went 1 for 12 the other night in that double overtime game. And I didn't even know it because I thought he played so great. He was in a must play good situation. Because Kyle fouled out and we went to double overtime. He played at least 16 straight minutes and he ran the team and played defense and he oozes confidence. He oozes the confidence that spreads to the other guys. And again, he just stepped into the shots that were there tonight and he was probably due to get hot in these playoffs. It's been probably a long time coming. Great game by him, though. Great game.
Reed Forgrave with CBS Sports. You said that shoot around this morning that Kawhi was looking better, looking more spry. When you consider the circumstances, is this series the very best you've ever seen from Kawhi?
Well, for me it is, but again, when it's really different when you have a guy, right? When you're with him every day and you're witnessing it all. I certainly remember, he's been unbelievable in the playoffs with the Spurs as well. But you're not as close to it. Heck, you might not even have seen all the games or whatever. But again, I can only state that he's been really good, and it seems like he's. I don't know. It doesn't look like there's. He gets stronger as the fourth wears on. He wants the ball and he wants to make the plays, and he seems to be making the right play for the most part. And you're almost shocked when he pulls up at 15 feet and it doesn't go in. I mean, he vaults up there and he has a good release on it. You think, well, there's 2 more, and it doesn't go in. You're like, oh man, what happened? But he's playing, and again, he's playing at both ends. He's rebounding. And again, it really gives the rest of the guys a lot of confidence when you got a guy playing like that.
Hey, Nick, all that Fred's had going on this week for him, do you know how much he slept in the last 4 days?
I do not. I don't I don't check in with him or curfew or anything like that, Mike. But I mean, obviously he's had a lot going on, and I talked about it a little bit in the pregame. Even though Fred's a younger guy, you got to trust these guys that they're doing everything they can with their bodies and their nutrition and their rest and all that stuff to get themselves ready to play. And somehow, obviously, he has been, or he plays better on less sleep. I don't know. Whatever he's doing, he did the last couple of days, he needs to keep doing.
Jeff Zogate, USA Today. Nick, that's 3 in a row now for you in this series. I don't want to presume you think you have everything figured out, but what are the common threads that exist in these 3 games that maybe weren't there in the first 2?
Well, I've mentioned a lot of them, and I don't think anything changes. Listen, this is a great team we're playing. Right? They are really good and deep and athletic and long and all kinds of stuff. This was a super hard win. Right, tonight, super hard, and we have to play with a tremendous amount of effort. again, I think, our keys are this. We got to play good offense, not turn it over and score the basketball, because if you don't, they're getting what they want, which is downhill basketball in a hurry. If we can score it, if we can take care of it, and we can get our defense set up, for the most part, we get down and guard them and make the shots a lot tougher. We have to rebound the basketball. They're a great rebounding team. And then, again, I think we just got to keep. I don't know. I've already said it. We got to play every possession, like fight through every possession at both ends, and just keep on playing for 48.
Nick, Mark Schwartz, ESPN. I got two for you. First of all, Kawhi has held Giannis to 36% shooting in this series. When he scores that many points, sometimes those things go overlooked. How important was his presence at both ends tonight?
Yeah.
And secondly, how much did that load management that you instituted all year, how much is that bearing fruit right here tonight?
Yeah, I mean, I know coaches are like this a little bit, but I as impressive as his offense is, and it's impressive, I get more impressed when he's down there guarding and making plays and blocking shots and flying in for rebounds. And my favorite thing is when he just decides once or twice a game to just go take it from somebody and go the other way. Those are huge momentum plays, and that's impressive to me. Again, it's a great competitive spirit. And as far as the load management thing, I mean, listen, he's I don't know. He's just super competitive, man. He couldn't wait for the playoffs to get here, and I think he's played a lot of minutes and he's banged up, and he says everybody's banged up, but I want to play and I'm going to play and I'm ready to play, and again, give him a lot of credit for that.
Steve Ashburn, NBA.com. Yesterday, or last game particularly, there was a lot of talk about the number of uncontested looks that Milwaukee had missed. And I'm just wondering, given what we've seen across the series so far, how much is it bad timing and bum luck, and how much are even uncontested misses attributable to things your team is doing up until that point, that shot's taken?
Well, we had some uncontested ones tonight. I'll bet you it's probably worse tonight. I thought there was a stretch of the game. I remember in one timeout saying, guys, we're not getting close enough to them to make them miss. And there was some where we switched and sat back and just gave them, guys like Brogdon and George Hill. We were guarding them, but we were from me to you away, and that's it's not, they're going to make those. So I thought we start the fourth. I remember saying in the huddle, no more. Get up, man. We got to get up and make them bounce it, and rely on your help if they go by you. Again, I think your question leads to makes and misses, man. You come down and some guys make them and some guys miss them, and that determines a lot of the outcome. Shooting the ball in the basket is a major part of this game, as you know.
But nerves or desperation or game situation?
Oh, I think it can be anything. I think it can be, if your defense is flying around a little bit and you got them hearing footsteps, or if you're played a lot of minutes. I don't know, maybe if it's a big, tall guy coming out at you and you aren't that big, there's a lot of things that affect the level of contest and those things going in or not.
Thanks very much, everyone.
All right, thank you.
All right, that is Nick Nurse, and obviously a lot of the questions about Kawhi Leonard, about Fred VanVleet. Couple of moments, we'll take you back out to the podium to hear from Mike Budenholzer, but clearly, you want to finish your thought, by the way, on what you were saying about Toronto and how big this would be if they could reach the NBA Finals?
Yeah, no, I got a perspective that I wasn't aware of until I went to dinner with Isaiah and about 6 or 7 former members of the staff who were there at the beginning. And just hearing the stories about how they collectively launched Toronto Raptors basketball, but really how you had a market, you had a country that knew nothing about basketball. Right. And the stories about selling tickets, about the in-game operations, it's baffling. And to think that, they were able to actually put a team out there and now be in a position one game away from getting to the finals many years later is pretty amazing.
Mike Budenholzer squad one game away from elimination. Here is that coach of the Bucks.
We just need to think about going and winning one game, go to Toronto and get that tonight. A little bit of a strange box score, obviously, VanVleet from the three-point line, and them in general from the three-point line was huge impact on the game. They got to the free throw line more than us, and just we couldn't get. We needed a couple of rebounds there down the stretch. That I think when we look at the film, we'll feel like if we could have, gotten a few more defensive rebounds from the 5, 4, 3 minute mark on, maybe the end result would have been different. But we'll get ready, we'll get prepared, go to Toronto.
Coach Bud, Greg Matzik, WTMJ. You mentioned rebounding. You out-rebounded them on the night, but it seemed like some of their threes were long rebounds, a couple that glanced off the rim, especially late. From your view, were those hustle plays made by the Raptors or stuff you can't really do much about given the way the ball was coming off the rim?
Some of both, but I think when Kawhi Leonard shoots a three from the three-point line and goes in and gets his own miss, that is a critical play that can't happen. The one with the shot clock violation or where it glanced off the rim. Gasol and Brooke are battling, and if it just takes a little slightly different bounce, Chris is going to get that. And still a little uncertainty on exactly why they went to review and the order of things that occurred in that particular instance. But, that's a tough bounce. Others we got to get to, we got to get, find a way. All 5 guys got to participate.
Matt Velasquez, Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel, just continuing with those offensive rebounds, just how deflating can those plays be when you guys are trying to battle back?
Very.
Eric Name, The Athletic. Bud, I'm curious with it. It's quite a scene to see blood running down Giannis's face on a TV screen. Just what do you think of his whistle tonight and kind of the way he's officiated?
Yeah, it just feels like he should be at the free throw line more. They have a couple of guys that are veterans. They're very crafty that seem to get there a lot. Lowry, when he drives, you got to be incredibly disciplined. He creates a lot of contact and is rewarded for it. Giannis, creates a lot of the same contact and doesn't seem to get the same whistle, get the same reward. But, I think the officials, they got a tough job. They do the best they can. We'd love for Giannis to get to the free throw line more, feel like he deserves it. But that's, we're talking about the rebounding, the three-point line, those types of things. Those are the things that we got to focus on and get better.
Kane Pittman with the pick and roll. You did touch on the three-point defense. They obviously shoot pretty well tonight, and the corner three has been something that you guys have defended well all season. What did you see tonight from the three-point defense?
Well, I saw Van Fleet just have a monster night. Sometimes, I think a couple of them felt really deep. A couple of them felt very contested. I'm sure he had a couple of good open looks too. So to get to 7 out of 9 from the three-point line is just killer. So Kawhi step back three, when it's 85 or 82, 81. That's a tough shot. Credit to him for making it. Credit to Van Fleet for making them. Whoever else they sprinkled in, a couple others that made them. But Van Fleet really stands out at the three-point line, and then Kawhi making 5 is, if we can make. Usually he's just making them off the dribble. So just got to be better.
Bud, Mark Schwartz, ESPN. This was Kawhi's all-time high with 9 assists, all of those on three-pointers. What did you see his most dramatic impact in the game tonight, both on the offensive end and again on the defensive end, messing with Giannis's ability to dominate the game?
Well, I think he's playing with the pass. You don't get 9 assists unless your teammates step up and make the shots. So, I don't know how many of those went to Van Fleet. I know one coming out of the halftime or ATO, to Lowry. So. He's doing a nice job of playing with his teammates and sharing the ball. And as far as defensively, he's a good defender. I don't know. I think it's their whole group that's been good and effective.
Steve Ashburn, NBA.com. With 1:12 left, Giannis went out. Did he just need a blow at that point? He'd taken a little bit of a beating up till right then.
No, he twisted his ankle in the backcourt. He tried to. I think kind of get a steal or surprise. I think it was Leonard with the ball, and I think his foot just stepped on, whether it was Leonard or Lowry, whoever's foot it was, and he just looked like he was in a lot of pain and maybe couldn't move. And we had an offensive possession, just maybe get somebody out there could move, make a shot, and I think kind of worn off, or the adrenaline wore off, and he was able to go back in.
Coach Keith Jenkins from the Associated Press. You went with a different starting five tonight. Malcolm Brogdon got the start. What were you trying to do there with that strategy, and did you get what you were trying to get out of that?
Yeah, I thought Malcolm was very good overall, and I think it's a group that started 64, 65 games for us. So Malcolm has been the starter for the preponderance of the season, and so just felt like it was the time for that group to start again. And he did a lot of things well. Pleased with Malcolm.
Matt Velasquez, Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel. Yeah, obviously that starting group did well and got off to good starts in the first and third quarters. But what did you think about the way that kind of changed your rotations and maybe how the bench handled tonight?
Yeah, the starters, a lot of positives there. We didn't get as much from our bench as we have at different times during the playoffs, and just Van Fleet alone. But Norman Powell hit some shots early. I thought when we were, we got off to the good start, and so their bench has played well. Our bench, we need to get a little bit more out of them. But as far as the subs, again, it's Malcolm has started a ton of games this year, and so it was kind of like going back to a lot of the routine and a lot of the subs and patterns that we've had all year.
Bud, Andrew Wagner, Forbes Sports. You guys are kind of in uncharted territory. You haven't had your back against the wall much this year. What are you seeing from your guys right now?
Yeah, I think, we talk about the character of the group and the toughness and competitiveness of the group. We're, it's first to four. We got to go to Toronto and get a game, and I think the group will be ready. They'll fill their cup up and be ready to go.
Eric Name, The Athletic, but I'm curious, you guys come out, switch a little bit more, seem to really disrupt them in the first quarter, and then that second quarter you scored 2 points in 6.5 minutes. Just how big of a swing was that in the game that you don't go into the half with a bigger lead?
Yeah, no, we had a dry spell there where, I think we had a 10-point, different times 12-point lead maybe in the first quarter, and second quarter we just couldn't get anything to go. We'll look at the film. Sometimes it's, offense that needs to be better and improved, or, we just, maybe missed some good looks. It's, something we'll review on film.
Bud, Nico obviously out of the starting lineup tonight, then he plays 9 minutes. He again couldn't get those shots to go. Where do you see him in the rotation, obviously for Game 6 and the rest of the series? Yeah,
we'll evaluate everything and see, how Nico fits when, he gives us great spacing, great shooting. If he can help us off the bench, then obviously we'll use him, and he can be very helpful to us. All right, thanks.
All right, that is Mike Budenholzer. We've heard from Nick Nurse. Coming up next to the podium, players expected, including Kawhi Leonard, Grant Hill, Isaiah Thomas coming back with much more analysis. The Raptors 1 game away from the NBA Finals. Live to the podium, Kyle Lowry is there.
It's one thing where, people talk a lot and they say this or that, but, to come out with a performance like that on the road, it shows the mental toughness. It shows just how much of a professional he is, and it was an unbelievable performance by him. And he made some big shots for us, and he did his job tonight.
Michael Grange from Sportsnet. How would you describe kind of the balance you guys got from offensively, particularly in the first 3 quarters, and then just your ability to defend against Giannis and the Bucks in the half court, like those 2 elements of that win?
Say that again? What was the first part?
The first part was just the kind of balance you guys found offensively, particularly in the first 3 quarters, and then defensively, your ability to kind of defend the Bucks in the half court and keep the game in the half court.
I think we just, is offensively, it's just taking the right shots. It's taking the shots that are there, that are available. And we're still passing up some looks, I think. We shot 36%. We got some good looks. We were aggressive, got to the free throw line. And that's a key to us, our success tonight. with Giannis is just trying to keep bodies in front of him. You can't stop him. I mean, he's unbelievable. He's most likely the MVP of the league, all NBA, all defense. He's unbelievable. But as a basketball team, you have to throw bodies at him and try to just keep multiple hands, forearms, 6 eyes. Just try to keep individuals in front of him.
Josh Lewenberg, TSN. Kyle, you guys fell behind early. What wasn't going right early, and what changed midway through the first quarter?
We weren't aggressive, I think. I think we turned the ball over a little bit. I think they made some shots, and they were getting out in transition. Bledsoe really was pushing the tempo tonight and looking for himself, and he got going a little bit. But, one thing about it is we've been saying it the whole time is kind of just no highs, no lows, just stay in the course. And that's what we did tonight, just stayed the course.
Kyle, Dan Wicke with the Los Angeles Times. Kind of along those lines, you guys had a lot of changes happen before the season. Here you guys are now sitting here, 1 win away from the NBA Finals. What does that feel like to you? Is it feel no different than Game 2, Game 3?
I mean, we just got to go out there and protect home court. That's what the goal is. Watch the film tomorrow, continue to get better, learn. Nothing's going to be given to us. We got to go out there and play extremely hard. That's what that feels like.
Kyle, Mark Schwartz, ESPN. Early on, it looked like Kawhi was trying to get other people involved. He wound up with 9 assists, which is more than he's ever had in any game in his career. But at the end, he was a bulldozer. Mm-hmm. He was taking it over. Can you talk about the evolution of the game from Kawhi's perspective?
I think it's just they're throwing bodies at him early. They're sending 2 or 3 bodies at him and kind of tilting the floor and making sure guys are loaded on him, and he's making the right passes, and we made some shots for him tonight. And then third quarter, he's been doing it all playoffs. He went into ISO and get to your spot, and it was pretty impressive. The game he played tonight, 35, 9, and 7, it was a pretty good game. It was a pretty good game on the big stage and on the road. Superstar.
Reed Forgrave, CBS Sports. Every time Giannis has the ball and he's driving, it's like you guys collapse 3 dudes on him, and yet they weren't getting an enormous amount of open threes. What is it about your defense that is, despite putting so many bodies on Giannis, still been able to limit the open shots?
Communication. Trying to get out, understanding rotations, understanding where the next pass is, and just playing hard. Sometimes it just takes, an extra effort to get out there. It takes, an extra 3 steps or an extra jump or this or that to just play hard. And I think that's the message that we've been, preaching, the last couple of games, is just play hard and just keep going and play extremely hard. It's not going to be perfect. It's never going to be perfect. But if it's not perfect, you pick up your teammate, drive for a loose ball, contest a shot, box out, and just play hard.
So last 2 questions. One standing up at the back here.
Kyle, Chuck Freeman from The Fan. You guys are down 0-2 in this series. To win 3 in a row like this in 5 days, that just doesn't happen every day. What was the turnaround? Can you explain what went into that? Because last Friday, you left this place and you're down 0-2, and things look bleak for you guys.
Just stay in the course. We never put our heads down. We never thought it was going to be we never thought it would be easy. We still don't think it's going to be easy. They protected their home court, and we went home and protected our home court, and then came back here and got a win tonight. And we understood, listen, this is the Eastern Conference Finals. It's never going to be easy. It's going to be tough. And you got, a team down there that's really, really talented, really, really good. But, we just go out there and play our game. And, you got opportunity to make adjustments on the fly, one day to kind of, adjust, prepare, recover. And it's been crazy, grueling, but it's been a fun process. And
the last question from Mike Grange.
Kyle, Michael Grange from Sportsnet. You're a connoisseur of refereeing.
Mm-hmm. Of course.
What was going through your mind? You had 2 replay reviews in the final, 40 seconds. Both went your way, but maybe walk me through that a little bit. What it's like to be on the floor when things are so pivotal.
Matt Devlin and Jack Armstrong, they always look out, so they tell us before, what's going on. And so the one possession, Matt was off of Brogdon. He said it's our ball. So, yeah, that was my referee connoisseuring. Thank you, guys.
All right, we'll take you back out to the podium in a bit. We expect to hear as well from Giannis Antetokounmpo inside the locker room. But now we take you to the world's best place, Secaucus, New Jersey. There he is, our buddy Joe Borgia, the Senior Vice President of Replay and Referee Operations. Joe, let's take a look at one particular play here. We had 34 seconds left in the fourth quarter. The officials went to review to determine if a shot clock violation occurred. Can you help us out and explain the process on this play and break down what happened?
So, Jared, our rule is in the last 2 minutes of the fourth quarter, the referees are allowed to come review to see if the ball hit the rim. So in this case, whether a 24-second violation occurred. So you see Leonard's shots come close to the rim. Gasol gets the rebound and is immediately fouled by Lopez. So this is a pretty close play. So we obviously in here go through the angles. David Guthrie was the referee in the replay center tonight. And you can see by this angle here, the ball changes direction and the spin of the ball also changed. Therefore, the ball did hit the rim. So we picked play back up by the point of interruption, which was when the whistle blew for when Lopez fouled Gasol, and Gasol goes to the line to shoot 2 free throws.
From Paradise, there he is, Joe Borgia in Secaucus, Senior Vice President of Replay and Referee Operations. Appreciate it, Joe.
Great talking to you, Jared.
All right, let's go to the highlight in case you missed any of this before we get you back out to Fiserv Forum for reaction for the Raptors' big Game 5 win over Giannis and the Bucks, who had not lost back-to-back games more than once all season, and they've never lost 3 in a row. But here they come, high-flying Giannis Antetokounmpo.
They got off to a great start. I mean, the energy in the building was good, and Giannis was flying, and Brogdon was knocking down threes. Milwaukee got off to a big start.
Bucks 11 first-quarter assists on 12 made field goals. They're up 10. Pascal Siakam getting the friendly roll on the road. The Bucks turn it over. Siakam to Kawhi Leonard, part of an 18-2 run. So what was once a 14-point deficit evaporated. Toronto had tied it, and then they took the lead. Here later on, Giannis. Take another look at the drive right over Serge Ibaka. Milwaukee up just 49-46 at the break. Grant, you got to be feeling good if you're the Raptors down by just 3.
Yes, you do, considering that start, and especially good when Kawhi Leonard's knocking down threes there in that third quarter.
Didn't see much sign of him grimacing. Had not been very good up until Game 4. Came to play in Game 5. Then Kawhi stepped back 3 over Brook Lopez. Kawhi 35.7 rebounds and a career-high 9 assists. Raptors up by 4. Later on, Siakam playing some defense. Denies Giannis. Siakam had 4 blocks.
You know, Siakam was good all night, and, you know, Toronto's defense, as we see, just stifled, you know, Milwaukee down the stretch. They couldn't get penetration. Milwaukee was out in transition, and Siakam was finishing.
So 89-81 with just under 6.5 to play. Now fast forward to just over 4 to play. Giannis doesn't shoot the 3 ball all that often, but when he does, he likes to make them. He had a couple in this game. Malcolm Brogdon misses. Brogdon saves it to Lopez from way downtown. That was his first 3 of the game. He had 16 points. We were tied at 93. Under 2.5 to play. Toronto answers. Kawhi to Fred VanVleet. You betcha! VanVleet, 21.7 of 9 from downtown. Raptors by 3. Off the Bledsoe miss. Raptors grab the rebound. And Giannis appears to twist his ankle. As Kawhi goes to the free throw line, Giannis takes himself out. Whoa! 30 seconds to go. Brogdon grabs the pass, but it goes off of Brogdon. Replay would confirm that. Raptor ball with 26.1, and Milwaukee down by 3. Toronto by 3 here. They get it to Kawhi, then to Lowry. Milwaukee trying to foul, but doesn't do a good enough job of it. Siakam with the nail. What's Milwaukee doing here?
I think Milwaukee was trying to foul. They fouled too late. Lowry was very smart when he received the basketball, got rid of it quickly. It was a bang-bang situation, and you know, Toronto ended up with the dunk.
105-99, Raptors up 3 games to 2 and a win away from their first trip to the NBA Finals. Game 6 Saturday night, TNT, 8:30 Eastern, 7:30 Central. That means that the Bucks have their back up against the wall, first time facing elimination all postseason. Here's Giannis.
To be honest with you, I don't remember.
Giannis, this is uncharted territory for you guys, losing 3 straight. Does it feel different in here? How do you guys work your way back into the win column, back back against the wall?
Obviously, Game 6 is really important. We know as a team that we've lost three straight, and something new for us. But we got to go in Toronto and we got to get Game 6. We got to fix anything we're doing wrong right now. Just try to play winning basketball, and we've created great habits all year long. So hopefully we can. It comes out in Game 6.
How do you go into this having to kind of put aside the pressure of a must-win game? How do you go into this and just treat it like it's another game, even though it is a must-win?
You cannot treat it as just another game. It's a must-win. Like everybody knows it. And we're just gonna go in there and try to do as much as we can do. Leave everything on the court. Make shots, play hard, give energy, and hopefully we can get a win. It's not just another game. We got to go in there and win, come back.
What are you seeing as the determining factor in those lulls where they are able to cut into their deficits?
Say about Toronto?
Yeah.
Great team. They keep, moving the ball. They have a role mentality, next play mentality, and no matter what's going on, no matter if we go up 10, they're going to keep playing hard, keep moving the ball, keep looking for the open man, and it's been working. They've been knocking down shots, and they'll be cutting the lead back. So that's what great teams do, and Toronto is one of the great teams in this league.
What needs to happen in the half-court set to get that to kind of match the effectiveness that you guys are on the transition?
I don't know, man. I'm not a coach.
Giannis had 5 offensive rebounds in the fourth quarter. Just how much do those kind of break your momentum and kind of really hurt you guys?
Obviously, from the first half, they had a lot of rebounds, offensive rebounds, and we came back here and we told one another we got to do a better job rebounding the ball, but we didn't. They had 5 offensive rebounds. Especially when we cut, it was a tie game, and they came and got that rebound. That was a big rebound for them. So hopefully, Game 6 we can do a better job.
Is it a matter of matching their physicality?
No, it's just about wanting it more. That's it.
Yes, I feel like sometimes on offense you just miss shots, right? Like you get the shots as George Rich, you just miss them. Do you feel like you're getting those shots at the moment as a team, you personally?
That we're getting the shots that we want. Yeah, I think we're getting a lot of open shots, get a lot of easy looks, so we just gotta knock them down. But it's not about that. It's about we gotta play hard. We gotta rebound the ball better. We gotta just bring more energy. I think we did a great, better job, bringing that energy and playing hard. But we gotta keep even more. For us to be able to win Game 6.
You had blood running down your face at a point tonight. You're on the ground throughout the night. Do you feel like you should have been at the free throw line a little bit more?
I don't know, man. Even if I say I should be in the free throw line, the 48 minutes that we just played, it's past. It's in the past. So what I can do is just keep being aggressive. Keep trying to make plays, keep driving in, and hopefully, I can get to the free throw line, or I can just, make a play. But the most important thing, I got to be aggressive. I got to finish through contact better.
Giannis, you're the type of guy throughout the entire season. You don't get too high, you don't get too low. But when you're sitting in your locker room, did it feel different being in this?
No, it doesn't. It doesn't feel different. I'm just, I just want to win, and I think we had a chance to win the game today, but we didn't. Obviously, I'm pissed. I'm not gonna lie to you, but you just gotta keep your head up, keep believing in yourself, keep having that confidence, try to pick up your teammates and tell them like we can do this. We got 2 more games to go and we can do this. We've created great habit. We've been playing great basketball all year. We've been a good team. So as much as pissed or frustrated I am about this game, it's in the past now. I gotta keep believing in this team, keep believing in what we're working on, and pick up my teammates up. That's it.
Trying to talk about something positive. How great was it to have Malcolm back there in the starting five? And how did it feel to have Malcolm?
Amazing, great player. Gives us a lot of options, offensively and defensively. It's great to have him back.
Yeah, so in Game 5 of that Celtics series, you saw the Celtics kind of fold. You know, you guys got.
We're not gonna fold.
How do you know?
We're not gonna fold, man. Come on, man. We best team in the league, man. We're not gonna fold. We're gonna go and give everything we got. We're not gonna go there and even they set a great tone and they come out and hit us in the mouth first. We can't fold. You know, we're gonna come back to Milwaukee being pissed. Like, you cannot fold. You gotta go out there and give everything you got. If we lose, we lose. Okay, cool. But we're not gonna fold as a team, and that's not what we do.
They will be playing with some passion in Game 6, the Bucks will. That'll be in Toronto, where Fred VanVleet will return home, back to his second child, who was just born, and after scoring 21 points. We'll hear from FVV coming up next. Fred VanVleet, a daddy for the second time. Boy, oh boy, Fred Jr. have him fired up in Game 5. 21 points, 7 of 9 from downtown. This is a guy that had struggled mightily over the first 4 games of this series. But over the last 2, he has brought it. Hitting it from everywhere. What did you like about VanVleet tonight?
You know what I liked about him is that, you know, it's very difficult to play well and score on the road, you know, in playoff situations. And they needed him, they depended on him, and he showed up, you know, out on the road. He did it at home, but to come out on the road and do it again, that's big time.
VanVleet will be back home for Game 6 Saturday night. First, he was at the podium after his career night at Fiserv Forum.
Hey, Fred. Dan Wicke with the Los Angeles Times. Can you just kind of take us through, not necessarily hour by hour, but what your schedule has been like since this craziness started and how you've managed to stay standing up?
Yeah, as long as you promise this the last time, I got to tell this story. All right. Yeah, so obviously, you know, my girl has been pregnant for a while, and the due date was May 31st. So we knew that it would be close. We knew that it would be around this time, and my first daughter came 3 weeks early, so we were expecting it to be any day now, Monday morning. And I thought I'd have a nice day off at home in Toronto. I got the call that her water broke, and I started, you know, rumbling around trying to find if I could get on a plane. So made it to Rockford at about 3 p.m. Spent the day at the hospital, and baby boy came Monday night at 9:30. So, you know, doing through all that whole process, stay the night. If anybody has kids before, you know, getting discharged is a whole nother adventure, trying to leave the hospital. And so they were stuck up there for a while with the baby getting checked out, and I stayed Tuesday. I stayed in the morning, flew back, got to Toronto at 2 or 3, tried to take a little nap, and headed to the arena for Game 4. And, you know, flew for Game 4. Flew back here yesterday, and I took a car down to Rockford yesterday night, and they were still in the hospital, so I spent the night at the hospital last night, and we were fortunate enough to get discharged this morning. So drove down to Milwaukee this afternoon and took another nap, if that's what you call it, and, you know, laced them up again here for Game 5. So it's been a frantic week, but, you know, that's what makes all this stuff worth it.
Fred, Michael Grange from Sportsnet. So that's the formula? That's the key? 0 sleep?
Hey,
3
I
days?
guess 0 sleep, have a lot of babies, and go out there and let loose. No, but, you know, in the middle of all that stuff, you guys know it's been a rough playoff stretch, shooting the ball for me. Everything else has been fine in my opinion, but just shooting the ball has been a little rough. And, you know, I still found time to get quick workouts in here and there. Whatever we left yesterday, I hadn't slept much, and I still got a workout in before we got on the team playing. So just keep trusting the work and trusting your craft and knowing that at some point they're going to drop. And a lot of times how it works is they all come at once, and I think that's what you've seen. So just got to bottle it up and put some games together.
What would you say about tonight's game in terms of, it was almost like 2 different games. Like the first 3 quarters, you had Kawhi looked to really be, there was a lot of balance there offensively, and then it it's nice to have him to pick it up in the fourth when things get tight.
Yeah, I think that they came out and punched hard and quick early, and we knew that that's what they were going to do. But, you know, we just had to try to weather the storm and understand that it's a game of runs, and we've been battle-tested. We've been in tough games. Philly really tested us. Even Orlando made us work pretty hard for those wins. So we understand, you know, how long a playoff game is, and you can work yourself back in. So I thought we did a good job just distributing the ball. Everybody was chipping in, and then fourth quarter, you know whose time it is for that. And you know, Mark hit a crazy big three at the end after I think he was probably 0 for 5 at that point. You know, a couple other guys made some big plays, but at the end of the day, to have a guy like that to close him out is what you need, and he understands that. We understand that, and we kind of shift, and that's what you've seen this year. We can win a lot of different ways, and you have to have a lot in your toolbox.
Alex Gary from your hometown Rockford paper. You know, thanks for being in the NBA so I can come to these games.
That's your question?
No, that's just a thank you. You're shooting 80% from three in Fred Jr.'s lifetime. So how do you keep that going, hopefully into next week?
You know, just keep bottling it up. Like I said, obviously it's turned around for me a little bit these last 2 games. I've gotten more, feels like I'm getting more better looks, more open looks, and as you make them, your teammates start to look for you more and more, and the game just kind of opens up all at once. So just staying confident, staying in there, you know, ready to knock them down when I get the opportunity, and, you know, just staying locked in. So I'm still not giving him all the credit in the world, but, you know, he's probably helped me out a little bit.
Fred, Matt Cullen from CBC Radio Canada. 3rd year now on the team, and in each year your role is growing a little bit more. Now you're 1 win away from the NBA Finals. Just hearing that, what are some of the thoughts that come to mind?
Just to take advantage of the opportunity. I think that being tied up 2-2 to have a great opportunity here to come in here and try to steal one was on our minds. And obviously being 1 win away, going home, you just want to take advantage of the opportunity. It would be a very, very long summer, you know, thinking about what could have been or what you could have done. And so we just got to go out there and have no regrets. And I think that we did a great job of that tonight, laying it all on the line, staying locked in, weathering those runs, and being able to bounce back. So like you said, 1 win away from the finals, it sounds pretty good to me. I'll take those chances. And, you know, we got to go out there and try to take advantage of the opportunity.
Fred, Mark Schwartz, ESPN. Kawhi was a little bit of everything tonight. When you look at the tape, what kind of things will you look for and remember from his game in Game 5?
Yeah, I think I don't know his stats for the last 4 games, but I think tonight his 3-ball opened up a little bit. It just felt like he had a little more lift on his shot, and when he's shooting the 3 like that, he's unguardable. There's no chance for anybody, and I think that kind of opened the floor up for him. He had some big shots, and he was getting to his spots, and I think they doubled a little bit less. It just felt that way. Obviously, I haven't watched the film yet. I don't think they sent quite as much on the double. They were collapsing when he got in the paint, but he gave it to you in every which way. He rebounded. He made big defensive plays. He's guarding Giannis at the end of the game. He's getting rebounds. He's getting steals and making big free throws. And you know, he kicked a couple out that were big too. So anytime he chooses to get the rest of us involved, it's going to bode well for our offense. And the rest of us got to be ready to step up and knock him down. Thanks very much, everybody. Thank you.
Crazy good night for Fred VanVleet. We're back with a look ahead to Game 6 with Ishiah Thomas and Grant Hill after the Raptors win Game 5 on the road, 105-99. Raptors 1 win away from their first ever trip to the NBA Finals, where the Golden State Warriors are awaiting the East champ. At the podium, Kawhi Leonard, who scored 35 and had a career-high 9 assists in the Game 5 win.
Josh Lewenberg, TSN. Kawhi, you guys fell behind early. What weren't you doing well in the first half of that first quarter, and what changed from there?
They got out in transition, got some easy looks, getting to the rim, fouled a little bit too much, and, you know, ended up giving them a 32-point quarter. And we were able to, you know, stay locked in and engaged into the game, into our game plan, and ended up having a better defensive second quarter.
Kawhi, Mark Schwartz, ESPN. It surprised some people in here that you had a career high with 9 assists. We would think you'd have 9 assists in your sleep. Can you talk about your development as a playmaker and what you were able to do on that side of the ball tonight?
Just got to give credit to my teammates. They knocked down shots tonight when I gave it to them. And, you know, I'm not a guy that really controls the ball the whole game. Pretty much could play off the ball with the ball in my hand and just trying to give other people opportunities to, you know, shine and just not trying to just be like a dominant ball player.
Kawhi, Dan Wekey with the Los Angeles Times. All series, Milwaukee has struggled to find ways to score in the half court. What has gone so well for you guys defensively when it's not been in transition, and how have you guys been able to kind of keep them bottled up?
Just being ourselves. We take pride in, you know, the matchups that presents us. We want to be a good defensive team. You know, that's what we look at in film, and everybody, you know, comments or has something to say that's knowledgeable to try to make our defense better. And, you know, we go into the game and try to execute it as best as we can.
Kawhi, Michael Grange from Sportsnet. You know, Fred was here and he was just talking about how they know what time it is when it's the fourth quarter type deal, and you had 15, I think, in the fourth. How does your mind change or shift in the fourth quarter of a close game?
I pretty much try to stay with a consistent mindset throughout the whole game. You know, just trying to read the defense throughout the entire game, see what's working. And like you said, you told me tonight, go get it. And, you know, I'm not afraid of the moment. I enjoy it. And, you know, this was what I work out for in the summer. So you just got to go out and shoot the ball, I guess. That's my mindset, try to get to a spot, help my team win the game. Just trying to win, either if it's me scoring points or getting my teammates wide open look. Just out there trying to win. It just not really matter about me scoring. It's just about being aggressive and don't shy away from anything.
Kawhi, Michael Lee with The Athletic. We can say, but just with the collective experience of this group and the fact that you have guys who've been at this moment, been on this stage, and just how that kind of helped your poise down the stretch.
Yeah, I mean, experience helps a lot. You know, just from my input, you know, I've been here before. I've been to the finals, and it's pretty much nothing new that I'm seeing out there. And you just got to have fun with it and enjoy it. Like I told him tonight, we were down 10. I told him to enjoy the moment and embrace it and just have fun and love it. And, you know, this is why we're here.
Kawhi, Matt Cullen from CBC Radio Canada. When you came to Toronto, you thought this team had the possibility to be a championship team. Now you're one win away from getting back to the finals. It's been a few years for you. What's going through your mind, again, to have that opportunity to be amongst the best, to play for a championship with one win now?
It's a great opportunity. You know, like I said, this is what you work out for in the summer, is to win basketball games. You know, same mindset I've been having throughout the playoffs. Just, you know, come in, have fun, try to execute as best as I can, and play confident. And whatever happens after that is what happens. You know, and I know that I put the work in. I can live with the results because I'm having fun and I'm putting my all out on the floor.
Kawhi, Mike Gander from the Toronto Sun. How would you describe the level of defense you and your teammates are playing right now?
I mean, I'm just living in the moment. That's for you guys to try to describe and, you know, make fun out of. And, you know, I'm in the moment right now. I don't know.
Quite the moment that Kawhi is in. He's been an organization, or should I say organization, never have been to the NBA Finals. They win on Saturday night. They are in. Or they could also win on Game 7 Monday night. Back here with pair of Hall of Famers, Grant Hill, Ishiah Thomas, Jared Greenberg. Okay, Zeke, let's talk here. You're Mike Budenholzer. What's going through your mind over the next 48 hours before your first elimination game of this postseason Saturday night?
Well, the first thing you got to do is get your team confident again and making them believe that they can go into Toronto and win a basketball game. And the way they're going to be able to win is not turn the ball over, make sure they get a good shot down every time, rebound. That's what they do best, one of the things that they do best, and make sure that they, make open shots if they get them. But the most important thing is you got to get your team confident again.
That defense by Toronto has been tough. Can the Bucks solve this, Grant?
Well, it's tough. I mean, so much of what they do in the half court is put the ball in Giannis's hands, spread the floor, and let him, get to the paint and make a decision. Toronto has really figured out a way to sort of slow him down and slow them down. And so, I'd like to see some more ball movement, side to side, shift the defense, and then get Giannis the ball where the defense has moved a bit, and now he can attack quickly. But, it's such a struggle on the offensive end, and give credit to Toronto in terms of doing that. And I also think on the other side, Milwaukee's got to do a little bit better job defensively. I mean, you're going to try to form a wall with Kawhi Leonard. He's still getting his numbers, and you got guys getting open looks. And so you got to make a decision, A lot of too many straight line drives by Kawhi Leonard. I mean, he's going to take and make some tough shots, but he also got some easy shots, as a result of, I think, some poor defense there by Milwaukee.
I want to point one other thing out. We spoke a lot, and justifiably so, about Kawhi Leonard and Fred VanVleet. They had tremendous games. I want to make a note on Kyle Lowry, who gets criticized a lot. Kyle Lowry tonight just became the Raptors' all-time leading scorer in the playoffs, scoring 17 points tonight. He passed DeMar DeRozan. This is a guy who, again, has been criticized for his performances in the playoffs, but you look at some of his numbers in big games, especially in Game 7s when the Raptors have needed him, he stepped up, and he's really played well over the last couple of games.
Rightfully so, he's been criticized for his playoff performance. But let's give him credit for learning from his failures. And this is what winning, and this is what being a professional basketball player, and this is what it's all about. Can you overcome? Can you persevere? And when you lose, right, when you have failures, look at that as an opportunity to grow and get better. And that's exactly what Lowry has done. He's gotten better in his playoff performances. He's played better, but he's learned from his failures.
Grant, Saturday night, you sit next to Drake courtside?
If I can get the seat, yeah, I will.
Call him up on that hotline bling.
Okay, yeah, that was good.
We'll come back with a recap of Game 5. The Raptors win it. Plus, we'll talk about the All-NBA teams. Congratulations to the Raptors. They won Game 5. They got to get one more to go to the NBA Finals for the first time in franchise history.